Hey, Miss Shirley, how are you, darling? Trying to find us some good music here. Let's try this. Hey, Vincy Lou Who, how are you? How's the music? Okay. Wet down here, Miss Shirley. Nice and wet. It has rained all day. I heard tell it's snowing not far from you in Canada. Yay! Didn't that sound good? Just something different. Just a mystery kind of. This is my hair straight out of the shower, y'all. It's like a mystery romance or something, from what I understood. I bit my lip. I cut up onions earlier to cook for hamburger steaks, to put on top of hamburger steaks, and my eyes keep burning. Oh, yeah, I keep yawning, y'all. I feel like I could go to bed right now. I know I love a good mystery too. This one's going to be interesting tonight. I thought it was more of a motorcycle club book, but apparently not. I'm not sure what this book is about. It's about Cain and hell and heaven and Lilith and all that stuff, but not in a biblical sense. Man, how's your sister-in-law, Vincy? Where's Ori? Where's Jackie? Where's Karen? Where's Julie? Where's Steve? Where is everybody? If you're trying to watch the video, if you're trying to chat, tap on the video. At least she got to come home. That's a good step in the right direction. Ori! If you are trying to chat in the video, tap on the video and it should pop up on the screen. Vincy, it doesn't do any good to put in directions in the chat because they can't see the chat to chat. All they can see is me. All they can hear is me reading. Figure that out too. Whew. Gracious maze. Sleepy time. I'm gonna sleep good tonight. Hopefully my phone will come in tomorrow. Hopefully. Hopefully. Ooh, maybe I can get through this. Got my Canada Dry. I made hamburger steak with grilled onions, and I steamed some corn with some butter sauce, and made us some salads. That was supper. I cooked tonight, y'all. I know, we're trying. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Nina, if you're still with us, if you get a message from anybody saying they can't chat, just tell them to tap on the video. And it usually just tap once. Tap too many times, it opens and closes. There's Miss Julie. Tell them tap on the video once and it'll usually open up the chat. How goes it? I was just getting ready to get started. Long time no see. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Prologue. Cain. Sins of our fathers. What a crock of shit. They say we follow in their footsteps and their journey shapes our path. My father was a fucking prick, a simple-minded fool brainwashed by the word. He was a proud church-going man, always up early on a Sunday morning, demanding that his family be front and center, encouraging us in his not-so-passive-aggressive manner to be more than asses in pews within the church. We were so close to the pulpit that we could feel the priest's warm spittle showering us with every straight-to-hell condemnation he spewed. Altar boy, yeah, I did that bullshit. Altar boy my ass, more like a selection committee, a who's who buffet for these fucking godly men. So many young boys squealing and shrieking from God's love, music to the ears of these religious swine doling out the Lord's punishment. Pretty sure that's not what their sacred word meant by making a joyful noise unto the Lord. To top the bullshit off, my father named me fucking Cain. Just another irony considering I'm an only child. Who the fuck am I supposed to murder? I sure as hell won't tend the land, and the only sacrifice I'll offer up to God is a good orgasm. He can have the spunk from my balls, although the bastard isn't worthy of my seed. I decided early on that I was going to fuck with my dad's plan, where he had demanded that I become a farmer, marry a God-fearing woman, and produce a son to be named Abel. This was another great mockery of the good book. I became a history teacher, a bona fide bachelor, and fuck any woman willing to lose her morals blowing me in the church pews. Fuck you, Dad. My life, my rules. I stare down at the grave that marks where the fucking bastard finally rests. I look around at the night sky, a bottle of whiskey clutched tight in my hand, and start to laugh. I had just spent the last 2 hours at the Purgatory's Apostles Clubhouse drinking whiskey and smoking weed. It's our regular fuck the world Friday night party. Whiskey, women, and weed. If you're not drunk, high, or horny, then the 3 W's aren't working for you and you need to find your ass someplace else to party. You old fucker. You got what was coming to you. Died face first in your own piss on some porta potty. Talk about a befitting end for the piece of shit you were. I place the bottle in my mouth as my hands go to the fly of my pants. The teeth in my zipper are slowly breaking apart, sounding like a broken jukebox stuck on a loathsome Patsy Cline song. Pulling my dick, which I am sure is rimmed with a few layers of lipstick in all different shades, out and tilting my head up to the full moon, I can't help but chuckle as my piss beats down on his grave. Taking a swig of whiskey before zipping up and turning around, I stare into the big, beautiful white eyes of a chick I don't know. My first instinct is to ask if she wants to give me head, or if she will allow me to slide my cock between those full tits of hers. That was such a shitty, disrespectful act. She huffed, slapping her arms together across her chest, making those big boys more on display than the tight top she has on. Damn, I'd pay to see her fucking naked. No worries, miss. I bow, purposefully exaggerating my movements as I throw my hand far behind my back. My head is at the perfect spot to bury my face between those big old tits and motorboat those bitches. From one prick to another, he got the send-off he deserved. I start to walk away before I turn around and again and yell. Oh, crap, sorry, y'all. I hit a button. Let's see. By the fucking way, you have a great rack. I shudder thinking of the sins I could commit with them babies. Although any sins I would do to you would piss the old prick off in the grave anyways. I turn around and walk away as she screams some nonsense about respecting your elders, your parents, and the dead. There was something about burning in hell, but I was already fuming over her self-righteous proclamation. I stopped and turned around before yelling, This is motherfucking hell. You're living in it each miserable day you draw a breath. God doesn't do shit for anyone. I kill the last few delicious drops of whiskey and toss the bottle at his headstone. You can pray, you can beg, but in the end, all it's going to get you is a raw asshole and a cotton mouth. I watch as her contempt for me beckons her to march unceremoniously as far away from me as she can get, as quickly as she can get there. Don't get me wrong, that ass swaying from side to side as she stormed away was an image I will not soon forget. But as her shadow disappears along the outer edge of the cemetery, I stumble across the grass and head to my bike. He's been gone for less than 48 hours. I have not once shed a tear for that son of a bitch. As I head down the sidewalk to my apartment, I take a deep breath and look to the sky. Mama, the old bastard's finally headed home to hell. I hope they put his ass to good use. I enter my humble abode and laugh. My walls are covered in images of naked women in precarious positions, and my table is scattered with nudie magazines. I mumble about needing to find a warm set of plump lips wrapped around my cock and hit the shower. Since I founded the Purgatory Apostles, we have defended our way of life against the blinding prejudices of an ignorant society. I never expected to find a crew of men that are so much like me that we mesh like a mismatched family. I think back to how all this started and wonder what I have done to get gifted this not so special gift, and then I remember. Tomorrow, I take the Hellions to the museum and introduce them to the Spear of Destiny. I have this whole lesson planned about this object, but I have a feeling that nothing, and I do mean absolutely nothing, is going to go the way I want it to. Bright and early, I sit there waiting for the dean to show up. I don't believe in this religious bullshit, and I'm going to make one final attempt to kiss ass my way out of it. You know, the full Monty, the glorious spread eagle, position my face at the right height before puckering up and sucking the center from that pitted brown eye. If this motherfucker would just get here already. Before he even releases the doorknob, I start pleading my case. Sir, come on. There has to be someone more morally and ethically suited for this ridiculous field trip. Mr. Thomas, I don't see why it has to be me. I can tell by the little shit eating grin on his face that I'm not going to appreciate his response. A devious yet matter of fact smile forms on his lips as he speaks. Kane, who is the dean? There it is. That fuck me snicker I expected. I bite my tongue trying to hold back my genuine dislike of this weasel, and I spit out, You are, sir. And seeing as I'm the dean, I make the decisions. Now, of course, if you'd rather persist with this gross insubordination, I guess I can assign another professor to the field trip. Feeling like I was just hit with a beanbag full of surprise upside my head, I choke out, Oh, thank you, sir, thank you. His beady little eyes squint even further until they're nearly shut. Kane, you didn't let me finish. He pushes the crooked rimmed glasses up the bridge of his nose as his nasally voice berates my eardrums. I could have another professor do your job for you, but if I did that, it would mean you forfeited your tenure. His shit-eating grin returns as he continues. Are you saying that's what you want to happen, King? The nerve of this cocksucker. If this were anywhere else but on university property, I'd have already pounded his pencil dick in the dirt. It was all I could do not to jerk this cockeyed piece of shit by the loosely glued toupee, neatly laying on the crown of his bald head, as I draw my fist down his throat. This is one time I had to keep my senses and not give in to my demons, and he used it to my advantage. I feel food between my teeth. Sorry, y'all. I couldn't lose my tenure. That's my entire retirement package. I gulp down a big steaming pile of self-esteem as I shamefully whimper in compliance. No, sir, that's not what I meant. I'll lead this pretentious band of future alcoholics and addicts to the goddamn museum. I can't believe this rat bastard just forced me to cower down to him. The sniveling, repugnant asshat. Who the hell does he think he is? Classic pussy boy syndrome, given a little authority, and the scrawny son of a bitch thinks he's the second coming of Napoleon. The morning was dragging ass. I kept staring at the clock, cursing the hands as they rapidly sped by each number. It's the only time in my professional career that I wasn't looking forward to lunchtime. It's not the students' fault, but I was blaming their pitiful, privileged asses anyway. Their acne-covered faces always beaming with excitement, smiling from ear to ear, and a youthful anxiousness that would blatantly fill my soul with nausea. They had no clue what the real world holds in store for them. Spear of Destiny. Who the fuck believes in that shit? Oh, Jesus' side was pierced with it. His blood covered the blade and soaked into the wood. Such outright horse shit. Yet millions upon millions of these pathetic losers shed tears gazing upon it. How sad life must be for these simpletons to need the existence of an imaginary, all-powerful being to control their every action. They say that the devil's best trick was making people believe he doesn't exist. What if this so-called God's greatest feat was making these idiots believe that he does exist? Either way, I'm good on you. I'm good on my own. There the fucking hell bell goes again, ringing in my head. It's mocking me with every unbearable note it sings. I guess there's no escaping the inevitable now. Swallowing my pride for the field trip wouldn't be so bad if only that little bitch boy didn't have his bony hands up my ass, pulling my strings like a damn ventriloquist. Suck it up. Man, it's for the next generation of leaders. for the new wave of low-class prostitutes and crack house junkies. Bite the proverbial bullet if it'll be over before you know it. 115 students packed on 3 buses like unwitting cattle headed to the slaughterhouse. Only these impressionable minds were about to gain some backhanded knowledge. I watch as the students are lined up in front of the stone steps leading to the entrance to the museum. Clearing my throat, hoping my voice will carry to those hiding in the back. Okay, this can be fun. This can be a fun, exciting day, or it can be a real headache. Let's go over the rules. I know, rules are lame. I point to the buses. You'll all receive 1 warning, then it's back to the buses. Trust me, you don't want to end up there. It comes with a full suspension from school, so let's respect the museum and its property. No horseplay, no cussing, no wandering off alone. Stay with the group. Listen to what myself and the other chaperones say. After a disgruntled round of heckles makes its way through the crowd, I continue. Remember, 1 warning, buses bad. Listen to those in charge. Understood? This geeky motherfucker's voice is monotone is driving me batty. That can't be what the museum wants. Where's his enthusiasm, his excitement? If boring-ass eulogies were a person, they'd be this guy. At least add inflections, a pause here or there. Anything would be a welcome change of pace. This day is dragging ass, and this cretin is leading the way. I can feel my eyes getting heavy as we stop at each new display, hearing of its supposed significance to the world. We've seen the holy nails, allegedly used to nail Jesus to the cross. The holy sponge. It was dipped in sour wine and offered to Jesus during his crucifixion. However, the strangest and most ridiculous artifact imaginable would have to be the holy prepuce. Supposedly the fucking foreskin from Jesus himself. I might give you the clothes, crown, and nails, but come on, who the fuck is going to circumcise a dead man and call it a religious object? What's supposed to happen? You lick the disembodied scrotum, maybe suck it like an egg noodle, and you're blessed with many children? Who the hell wants that? On second thought, that might be where women learn to swallow, so cheers for that shit. As I'm contemplating the absurdity of this religious bullshit, from the corner of my eye, I see Mrs. Robertson desperately trying to get my attention. I can barely see her head bouncing up over the students. Reminds me of a club slut's head bobbing up between my legs as she's sucking my dick, as her hand waves toward the back of the room. Quickly following her lead, my head swivels to catch some boys fooling around near the last display we passed. I managed to squirm my way through the sea of hypnotized students and reach the boys causing the disturbance. I laid my hand on Luke's shoulder as I demand, "Stop. Let's pretend you have a little common decency and behave like the young gentleman I know you can be." I watch as the color drains from their faces, but none try to speak. You've wasted your only warning. As I turn to resume my pace up front, before my foot ever hits the ground, I feel a body crash into mine. Sheer terror smears across my face as John bounces off me and careens off balance toward the museum's most prized possession. I reach out for John, hoping I can steer him away from the Spear of Destiny display. The thought of these punks causing me to lose my job flashes in front of my eyes. I dive at John, knocking him clear of the display, yet I'm unable to prevent my body from demolishing it. A sharp, piercing pain shoots into my thigh. I feel the instant rush, a familiar cool sensation pulling under my leg. I try to move, but this is an unnatural suffering surging through my body. The lights suddenly begin to dim. My eyes are strangely heavier than ever before. I'm engulfed by an eerie feeling of hovering above myself. I'm just watching and observing the commotion as people scurry to provide help. Am I dreaming? Is that really me laying there? But how? How can I be there and up here? How can I be seeing myself? No. Apply pressure to the wound. Steal a belt from one of the assholes who caused this shit and use it as a tourniquet. You've got to stop the bleeding or I'll die. Wait, am I already dead? Is that why I'm watching this bullshit? What the fuck is going on here? No, who turned out the lights? I need to know what's happening. It's so dark, so cold, so consuming. Sorrow, anguish, death. This is the loneliest feeling I've ever felt. Are these tears? I don't cry. Why can't I hear? Hundreds of people silenced in the time it takes to a heart to beat. Where'd everyone go? Please back. I don't want to die. I heard my pathetic pleas ringing in my ears, sounding like a sloshing pussy after getting wrecked, and instantly regretted my weakness. If I'm going to die, fuck it. Get it over already. All right, there's prologue. All right, chapter 1, The Demand. I see him, my dad. How can this be? He died 4 days ago. I buried the fucker yesterday, and now I watch him laugh with Satan himself. Brilliant flashes of light begin rippling in from every nook and cranny of the room. Reality is seemingly swallowed by a soul-sucking nothingness. For a second, I wonder if I'm in a strip club. Patty pulls there greasing up the pole, ready to jump on. Man, I love watching her go hands-free as her succulent ass cheeks wrap around the pole. Especially if I'm in my regular spot and she's sliding up and down like a candy cane twirling in a warm breeze, just waiting to get sticky. The cock-deflating elevator music should have been enough of a hint that Patty wasn't providing my happy ending tonight. Brother Kane, come in. A voice echoes, dragging me, kicking and screaming from Patty's luscious Garden of Eden as a door appears eerily creaking open. Just who the fuck are you? I demand as an unforeseen force hurls my body through the door. As I get into the room, I notice 2 men. One is old with bushy long hair and a thick long beard. The other standing off to the side, masked in a purple shimmering glow, beckoning of royalty. A Greek statue would have crumpled in shame next to his beauty. I'm not gay, but I'd grease his beefy cheeks. I'd grease his beefy ass cheeks. Somehow I understand the man beside him is his protector. His hair emboldened by the sun, his eyes are the very embodiment of suffering and black as death. He would intimidate any man or woman with how tall he is. Sit. The man in the chair demands, and my body moves like I'm a dog obeying an order. Kane Lucas, I see you finally made it here. The man with the long beard barks. Like I fucking had a choice. Who the hell are you? I started to chuckle because when I said the word hell, it was changed to hello, like my words had then had their own autocorrect attached to them. Many peoples call me many names, but I prefer God. He booms as his arms go out to the side and the stone statue shifts, standing straighter. I chuckle. And I'm Satan's pineapple stuffer. I couldn't help the smartass in me showing my sarcastic nature. Oh man, the only God I know was swinging on a pole in the other room. That's my holy of holies. Nothing. Not a single reaction from either of them. Hell, I thought that comment had some bite to it. Suddenly, I watch as the older man nods and the statue moves, but not towards me. He heads for the now open door. I turn my head and watch as he brings a woman into the room. Her face remains hidden within the statue's sculpted muscles, yet I hear the disgusting slurping of her lips against him. She's sucking his nipples like a starving pup on his mother. Occasionally, there's a momentary pause in the slobber filled lapping as a tiny breath escaped her mouth. I have a mission for you, the man they called God speaks. I open my mouth to speak, but the words won't form as I see the lady turn around. Cain Mordecai Lucas, you will sit and listen to what these men have to say. Oh. Cain Mordecai Lucas, you will sit and listen to what these men have to say. I am your mother. You will listen. My mouth hangs open as I watch my mom and the Greek god kiss before she turns and walks or floats, whatever the fuck she did, it wasn't natural, out the door. Your mission has 2 outcomes and a bunch of angels that you need to speak to beforehand. He opens a drawer and pulls out a folder. This is your mission. You will not read it until you have been visited by each angel, and then you will open the folder. I will warn you. You can either do or die. He stares at me. Your first angel is none other than Gabriel, my messenger. My head flips back to the big man as he steps forward. What am I supposed to call you, stepdaddy? I mouth off just as another man walks in. And what am I supposed to call you, stepdaddy? I mouth off just as another man walks in. And you wonder where my taste for sins of the flesh came from? I'm a proud mama's boy, and she seems to have your full attention. Thought you angelic bastards were banned from sex with mortals. No, see. No, I am not your daddy boy, and you will be my bitch when mommy dearest is finished with my cock. He smirks, causing me to look at him. We do enjoy all forms of pleasure. My attention returns to the newest members of the Glory Bunch. He stands just as tall as the one beside God, but a little thinner. He has round glasses and wavy long hair. His skin is a copper color, and he fully comes into the room. The others just disappear. Let's see. I am Gabriel, God's messenger. Sit down, shut up, and listen to what you need to do. Why you need to do this. I slew him as if he were a corporal and I was a private. Damn, what a tough room. These guys just have no sense of humor. Hey, I've seen you before. Yeah, you stand on the sidewalk pretending to be a golden statue begging for change from strangers. You guys aren't supposed to move, dude. Epic fucking fail. I laugh as his dimples shimmy in disgust. Decades ago, a war was fought in this very realm. It was your typical good versus evil, where good wins and evil disappears. We fought a hard battle and lost many men, but we still came out on top. He sits down and pours 3 fingers of single malt scotch, lifting the glass to his lips. That war never went away. It just simply slunk back into the nothingness between dimensions to fight another time. It has slowly started coming out, making Earth and humanity question their own beliefs and fighting amongst each other. The worst is yet to come. God's mission is not one you can pass on, but it is also one that you need to learn more about. I nod my head as he takes another sip. There are evils coming from hell, demented souls whose only purpose, chaos and destruction. They will leave the innocent lying dead on the ground as evil rises and takes over Earth. I nod my head again as my body starts to joke. Ah, I see they are working on your body. A momentary calm hovered over me, and I'm able to walk. Y'all do know who I am, right? Y'all do know who I am, right? I mean, I don't believe in this religious mumbo jumbo and couldn't care less about its conflicts. Besides, I'm in a fucking coma. As soon as you run off back to whatever black hole you live in, I'll forget any of you were here. Gabriel laughs mockingly as he takes another sip of scotch. Oh, you'll remember, Cain. There's still two more angels that will visit you. You need to listen to them all, and you need to make the right choice. You will remember. Believe in this mission. Distorted beeps like 1,000 car horns sounding off all at once during the traffic jam in Los Angeles fill the room as mutters and yells follow. Clear! My body jolts and the sounds become louder. He has swelling in his brain. We need to keep him in a medically induced coma until the swelling goes down. I hear the sweetest voice ask, will he be okay? That voice is so angelic, sending electrical impulses throughout my body and chills cascading my spine. I remember the curvy petite curator that gave me the dirtiest look when the kids started to act out. Even if these mindless drones don't recognize the signs, I know blood is surging into my cock at just the thought of her delicate full hips. Gripping them, pounding my hard cock deep into her. Fucking perfect. Who are you to this man? A voice growls, making my blood boil. Who the fuck does this jerk think he is? I'm the person. I'm the person who started to eat CPR at the museum. I just want to make sure that he will be okay. Her voice is the finest whiskey, warming me up from the inside. It will be a few days before we will know anything. You can visit, but you can't ask for any medical updates. He stomps out. I'm sorry you're here. I tried to save you, she whispers as she holds my hand. I relax as my body calmly drifts off to dreamland. For the first time in my life, I know I'm safe. Chapter 2, The Temptation. Nails bill. Have you ever walked into a building you've never entered before and instantly know where everything is? Have you ever walked past a perfect stranger and have a spine-tingling chill pass down the back of your neck, like you know how they lived and how they're going to die? Have you ever floated in the air above your own body, not recognizing who it is, yet knowing something's not right? Yeah, well, me neither. I'm not sure how long I've been here. Time doesn't seem as significant now. Her voice grows louder within my head, and it's the only reality I can hold on to. What? Was that shit real? Did God speak to me? Damn, I hope not. I remember Moses' ass after he came down from the mountain, and I'm just not ready for that old man, gray-headed look. What were they thinking bringing my mom? Like, I would somehow just assume the dick-sucking position, throw his holy cock in my mouth, and give my unwavering support? Wrong motherfucker, wrong life. My attention turns back to the bed, and I see myself lying there motionless, watching the machines force my chest in and out. And I still feel every needle they pierce my flesh with. I see the long faces as heads shake disappointedly, just watching the red line steadily race from one side of the monitor to the other. I've stood over my body, desperately screaming into my face, believing the saliva hurling from my mouth will somehow wake me up. However, the machines beep, the monitor flashes, and I remain still. If only I'd gotten her name. She isn't like these other cheap trollops that I'm used to. No, if that coma doesn't do me in, that woman's in trouble. I'd change my ways. Hell, I'd walk the straight and narrow for her. I'd even stop hating this religious bullshit if she wanted me to. Yes, sir, I'd be a different man. Yeah, just what every woman wants, a broken man with a fucked up past and no future. A classy broad like that would never fall for a loser like me. She's probably into the Wall Street types. Guys who bank guys whose bank accounts are twice the size of their dicks. But they have a Maserati, a penthouse on Fifth Avenue, and a vacation in the damn Cayman Islands 3 times a year. These jet setting pricks that couldn't walk down an urban sidewalk without bodyguards. Yeah, I bet that's her top. The longer I laid there swallowing my own bitterness, the lower my self pity sank. Maybe I should have taken the old man's advice and became a farmer. Lord knows I'd love to fluckin'. There's a new word for you, fluckin'. I'd love to fucking plow her fields every night. I was lost in an unfamiliar sensation, damp, cool, filled with shame drops slowly falling from my eyes, soaking into my cheeks, and refueling the sweaty ass taste in my throat. Suddenly, the room became less recognizable, 1,000 colors bleeding into one horrible concoction. In front of my eyes, my lovely curator's memory faded like a time lapse video of roses dying in a vase. I bit my lip violently, trying to keep the sound of her voice in my mind. Yet it too crumbled to dust and blew away. As the floor tiles frantically melted away, a hole formed in the floor. I could feel myself being drawn into it. I watched as the room's furniture fell helplessly beside me until only the bed with my body remained teetering on the edge. There was nothing as unavoidable. There was nothing. An unavoidable whirlpool wrapping all space and time within its grasp. Then a soul crushing, screeching noise invaded the silence. Quite a little conundrum you found yourself in, Kane. If words felt like a porcupine's quills had been sharpened to razor fine points and launched from a cannon into my body, they penetrated my flesh, ripping, tearing, stinging, burning. I felt like I had been turned into a water sprinkler with the continuous warmth sensation oozing out of my pores, my eyes stinging as if bleach had been poured into them, snapped shut while a steady stream of water rushed out of them. Kane, the voice blustered, I am Raphael. I'm here to give you what your heart truly desires. Though my fingers struggled mightily with gripping the corner of the hospital sheet covering the bed, still barely hanging on to its own reality, I gave a sarcastic, filled, ironic sneer as I spoke. Well, Ralph, just follow your buddies. Exits on your left. A miraculous gleaming green materialized from the darkness at the base of the pole. It was as though a giant kaleidoscope filled with different shades of emeralds had been broken in onto a disco ball and was now violently blinding me into submission. With each exploding sparkle of green, Raphael spoke. That searing wit has always been part of your charm. His laughter drilling into my head. Kane, I'm here to make you the deal of a lifetime. So if you'll indulge my showmanship for a minute, I'll give you the details. He shakes his head discouragingly. There's consequences to every decision. Bear that in mind. Well, fuck. I mockingly laugh as I release my grip on the sheet. If this is the end, just get it over with, Ralph. My body is weightless and I have no control. I'm spinning around in the air, making myself dizzy as I'm rolling around like a chicken on a rotisserie. I can see Raphael become whole. He seems almost ethereal in nature, like he doesn't belong in this realm. I smirk. If I pissed in your mouth, would you be offended? His movements, although calculated, are in slow motion, and I see his hand rise to show me his palm. It's like he's trying to push the air out of the way as his fingers slowly wave in place, creating a small vortex in front of me. I see it coming yet can't avoid the certain collision. As his hand strikes my chest, I'm immediately forced on a painful journey covering the face of the globe. The Eiffel Tower looks beautiful at night, all lit up. All the people kissing and holding hands as they stare up at the top just makes you feel all warm inside. Wow, I've never believed in the majestic lore of the Egyptian pyramids, but I'm filled with a sense of awe soaring by them. Those polished marble domes sitting atop the Taj Mahal are a definite must see. Like a computer downloading information, I instantly see the suffering of the workers as each wonder was being built. I experience every second of their lives, an unimaginable number of tears, countless buckets of blood, and millions of unnecessary deaths in a split second. I don't just feel their pain. No, I become their sorrow and anguish. Just as my mind's beginning to allow me to really love and hate this incredible tour, I'm yanked back to reality by the green freak waiting for me. Breathe slowly, Raphael whispers. It's a beautiful journey. However, as with every magical trip, coming down's a bit, right? I hear this. I hear the sarcasm in your tone. Leave the comedy to the experts and stick to what you do best, harassing people in comas. Coughing as I try to squeeze my stomach tight enough to keep the smashed peas I ate as a baby from revisiting my mouth. I'm done with your games. I'm done with God and his bullshit. Leave me alone. I'm done. A sinister, hysterical chuckle ruminates in the emptiness of the hole as he speaks. You're done when God says you are. Besides, you haven't heard my proposition yet. You might cream your jeans once you do. Through my spite, I spit out. Do you really song and dance? Do your little song and dance then, errand boy. Not like I really have any choice. Raphael waves his hand and the room returns to normal. He walks over to the window, running his hand down the cheap blinds, listening to the racket ringing in the door as he peeks over at my limp body lying prone on the bed. A cheesy little smile briefly forms on his righteous lips as he quickly looks from the bed to me, standing on the other side of the room. Still haven't figured it out, huh? He shakes his head timidly. It's like ignoring the elephant in the room. That splinter you got at the museum? Well, it isn't exactly what you think. My eyes furled as the frustration flamed in them. Stop with the fucking riddles, Confucius. You religious types are always playing your games with all the parables and shit. Sometimes direct is the best way. Hurry and get to the point before I jump back in my damn body and enjoy the peace and quiet of my coma. Raphael smiled and the temperature dropped drastically, and I felt the ice forming in my breath as my lungs exhaled. His form seemed to melt into the air as he drifted towards me. Although I knew he was capable of extreme wrath, I wasn't afraid of his impending approach. He seemed like a ghost here, but not. I swung my fist recklessly at the air, miserably failing in my attempts to knock his holier-than-thou ass back to heaven. His mocking sneers driving me mad as he began to disappear and reappear in different places, sometimes in two places at once. Felt like my eyes were spinning wildly around my head, inside my head, trying to keep up with Raphael's movements. You're not ready. His voice was coming from every direction, every corner of the room. Your fate is not mine to decide, but your arrogance leaves much to be desired. God, in all his infinite wisdom, sees some potential in you. What I don't know. Maybe with your mortal body so weak, you're just incapable of comprehending the greatness of your calling. His voice, sounding like 1,000 nails on a chalkboard, grows louder and louder, dropping me to my belly on the floor. I'll return when you can better understand. As rapidly as the room had first transformed, everything went back as it was. I found myself still hopelessly yelling at myself and begging that I'd wake up. My goddess's voice, sweeter than hundreds of birds chirping in the fresh morning sunlight, once again filled my ears. It was as though Raphael had never shown up. Yet the desperation and wailing of the long dead workers still echoed from deep within my soul. I hear voices gaining intensity standing outside my door, and I know something's not right. The beautifully flawed bitch of a doctor parades several students around my bed, pointing at my thigh as she begins to speak. Well, as with injuries of this nature, continuous attention is needed. She moves her hand from my leg up my chest and finally to my head. Now, there is no known medical cause or reason for this man to be in a coma. A goofy looking freckled faced kid waves his hand. Then why was a chemically induced coma prescribed for him? Dr. Benning smirks. Well, when he was delivered to us, the massive amount of blood loss, combined with a gradually falling body temperature, left us little choice but to keep him asleep. It allowed us to repair the damage while maintaining a steady heart rhythm. What the hell is she rambling on about? The cunt wanted my body from the moment I was wheeled in here on a stretcher. I can see that shit plain as day. Yeah, I sometimes stroke my own ego. Where the fuck is God when a guy needs a little helping hand? These little book whores are eating her nonsense up like it's cotton candy. I've seen her ugly side, the side only patients in a coma get to see. I'm more like a fucking science experiment than a live patient. This bitch is still running her mouth. Go on, walk the kitties out of here to poke and prod the next poor sap. I've lost the ability to distinguish one day from the next. The sound of my monotonous breathing is driving me nuts. My chest moves in and out, and I know I'm breathing, and there's life somewhere in that empty shell. However, I'm starting to lose faith I'll ever be me again, or at least the me that I used to be. Maybe I should accept God's offer and get my life back. Wait, no, not a chance. Fuck that. I've never groveled in my life, and I sure as hell won't start now. I begin screaming and angrily beating my fist against the walls. I'm cursing and spitting rage with every breath. I don't know why, but a sudden, uncontrollable urge blinded me. I had to toss the bed. I had to destroy the platform holding my body. I somehow believed if I could just thrust myself onto the cold floor, it would wake me up and this nightmare would end. I watched my hands grab the left side of the bed and lift it into the air. I watched as the bed obeyed my commands to roll over itself. I watched as my body lazily tumbled onto the floor as the bed spun crashing into the wall. I watched as I realized I was able to move objects even as a disembodied being. I realized I somehow had powers. Before I could marvel in my newfound talent, the lights flickered, glowing dim until they burst in a spectacular ray of darkness. The old familiar sense of an all-consuming nothingness engulfed me, and I knew a visitor was about to appear. Cain. His voice transformed into poison darts that dropped me to my knees. This pain you're feeling is because you have been gifted the sound of God's voice and remains of your mortality. It's too weak and fragile to understand. You have been given a monumental task. If you choose to accept it, I will provide you with every indulgence. Oh, sorry, wrong character. King, this pain you're feeling is because you're being gifted the sound of God's voice and what remains of your mortality. is too weak and fragile to understand. You have been given a monumental task. If you choose to accept it, I will provide you with every indulgence your heart desires. Say a certain museum curator, for instance. I know your heart. You can't hide your primitive urges. I regained my composure, steadied my legs under me, and waited for the bells to quit ringing in my ears. Ralph, you may suck the Lord's holy staff, but that's not my idea of servitude. What kind of supreme being uses his underlings for personal gratification? Oh, that's right, a loving, perverted one. Raphael nods his head. There's that award-winning wit again. Straight to the point, huh? Well, become God's new champion or become nothing. It'll be as if you've never existed. The tree of life will erase you from the annals of time. He instantly slams his face into mine. Cain Mordecai Lucas will be no more. Choose. My lips involuntarily began to twist. My eyes hectically darted back and forth, and my hands contorted angrily, trying to restrain the rage building in my gut. I knew no matter how strong or mad I was, that I didn't have the power to fight an archangel. But I had to do something. I could feel the veins in my temples throbbing, nearly jumping off my forehead, as an irrational thought entered my mind. I screamed and with all my might shoved my hands straight into Raphael's chest. No! I could taste the fear encompassing him as he flew backwards, ricocheting off the bathroom door. His sparkling emerald aura began to dissipate rapidly as he realized the magnitude of my decision on God's sadistic proposition. His faith was being tested and he was failing miserably. I saw the confusion reflecting in his eyes as he suddenly disappeared. His voice made one final pathetic plea. Cain, you don't want God as your enemy. Alrighty, that gets us to chapter 3. So, what y'all think? Something a little different, huh? Just remember that's part 1. It is a cliffhanger. So, it is 99 cents on Amazon, and I'm sure probably most every other platform too, usually. Miss Julie, thank you for being here, and thank you for letting me read this. Tell Stephen thank you as well. Now then, tomorrow night we have Mr. Michael James is coming back, and we'll be reading the April book. Yeah, that's what it is. The April book. Tomorrow's April 1st. So, Miss Shirley, your man's going to be here, so you better get ready. It's time for that April book. Whoop, whoop. I know you're ready for it. All right, everybody. I'm going to go rest my breast. I'm going to go rest my breast. I'm going to go rest my brain and my voice. My voice is the word I was trying to come up with there. So, I will. Miss Shirley's doing her happy dance. She does like her some Michael James. Alrighty. Thank you, Miss Julie. And tell Stephen thank you as well. And you guys have a wonderful evening and happy reading.